How about that little tour of the Break On Through studios? I figured I'd time it right at 8 o'clock, but as I can see, I'm still 3 minutes away. But you know how long it usually takes me to get ready for this anyway. Internet's already doing something funny. I know I gave a public service announcement about Break On Through earlier because the storm that had gone through was knocking power out. Our power was out. It came back on. It went out a second time. It really seems like it's completely over now, but I don't know. The high winds could still do some damage. I'll keep an eye on this Wi-Fi and make sure everything is A-okay. We're still in intro mode. It's not yet 8 p.m. Yeah, Wi-Fi is acting crazy. All right, it's 8 o'clock. Here I'm is. Ready to talk some biz and get down to the ground like no one's ever found. It's true. It's time for Break On Through. With me, your host, the long-haired weirdo, the unimpeachable heel prez for life, Jeffrey K. Clayton. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. How was your day? Ours was incredibly stressful. Let's see here. Let's scoot things back and get a better view of everything. So it's not right up on my face. Man, I took into consideration a couple ideas, but I'm going to do those on next week's show. One, I saw somebody in the body of the comments of last week's Break On Through said that they would like to, look at that. Ah! They said that they would like to hear the story of how the Sick Rick Jeff Clayton mask came about. Now, I'm going to give the full story next week, show you the two variants, and tell you how you can still get one to this very day. Man, we got a creek near our house. And when it rains like it did today, I mean, our backyard was a river. Had a waterfall and everything in it. These damn bugs get all over the place. I have a feeling by tonight I'll be seeing a bunch of them. That's all right. Come on in. You will never leave. Well, I guess the first order of business, I would love for everybody to grab their variation of Break On Through brew and let us drink a toast in memory of the now late great Tommy Collins of the Collins Kids. Let's go ahead and drink to him, drink to the man. He passed away. Let's drink to his memory, and then I will give you a little rundown, okay? Tommy Collins was the guitarist of the Collins Kids. Him along with his sister Lori. I first discovered them around the time it was sometime in the 70s, and I was reading about and discovering things like Eddie Cochran and Gene Vincent, and you know, when you start going down that rabbit hole, eventually you're going to run into the Collins Kids. And I can't help but think that somewhere along the line, in the early 70s, that Angus Young somehow saw footage of Tommy Collins. And I mean, you just go look up any of their old films from the 50s, and you will see a pint-sized rock and roll machine. He lived a nice long life, and of that he can be happy. And you've gone home, Tommy Collins. Thank you for all you did for us while you were here. You're all kind of knocking and stuff. I think that wind's picking up. All right, well, one thing I would like to announce, and you'll see it in the body or the title. Did I get that wrong, Dennis? Is his name Larry Collins? I think it's Tommy Collins. What did I put on my damn page today? I think it's Tommy. I've been wrong before, though. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I do stuff flying by the seat of my pants these days. Ain't no telling. But anyway, what I wanted to say was, in the heading for this week's program, I have a link for what is now the new ANTiSEEN YouTube page. And who's doing that, you may ask? Well, none other than Clinton Zilla. And you see, over a year ago, well over a year ago, Malcolm built ANTiSEEN Official. And for whatever reason, we still do not have an answer. We never got any assistance from YouTube whatsoever. He was the only one that had access to the page. And they locked him out. They didn't take the page down. The page is still there. But he couldn't get in it. And that's why there have been no break-on-throughs posted to YouTube in quite some time. But Clinton Zilla, I think, has caught up. Now, all that's on the page right now are old episodes of break-on-through. But soon there will be more. There will also even be a link to the old page to watch older break-on-throughs. And the new page is also going to have ANTiSEEN live performance as Clinton Zilla collects them all from the internet and posts them. So it's going to be a good thing. It's going to be a good time. Going to be a good time. Courtesy of Clinton Zilla. Now, you may ask how come Malcolm Tent couldn't just rebuild it? Because I'm going to tell you. Me and Malcolm Tent are, we are very, very busy people. I've told you before, I thought as I got older, maybe things would slow down some, but that has not been the case at all. It seems to be going along at a neck-breaking pace of things to do and things I have to do. Has anyone cleared up my Collins? Is it Larry or Tommy? I may have screwed that up. Anyway, someone please help me out here. Anyway, but Malcolm, we talked about him having to rebuild from the ground up. And he was going to tackle that. But, man, he is a record label mogul. All right, Dennis Highland, who is a very, very reliable source, has told me I screwed that up by calling him Tommy Collins. And to the memory of Larry Collins, I apologize. It's Larry Collins of the Collins kids who passed away today. Thank you, y'all. I'm sure you understand. Working class, up at 4 a.m. It's now 8:10. But he's a record label mogul. He's really busy putting out releases. He's making stars. He's test driving sports cars. He's getting fitted for Italian suits. And he really doesn't have time for that kind of stuff. But luckily, I happened to mention that we were going to approach Clintonzilla about tackling this right here on Break On Through, and he accepted on Break On Through. So thank you, Clintonzilla. Don't forget the Long-Haired Weirdo Records logo t-shirt is on pre-sale until next Monday, January 15th. I've been pretty pleased with the support that has been getting. Well, we got another week. You can get those if you like. I'd like for you to get them. I like for people to wear Long-Haired Weirdo Records t-shirts. And you know they're going to look great. I'm reading my notes here. This is all screwed up. And I'm trying to make heads or tail of it. I just finished an art project and got it in the mail yesterday. I was asked to do the artwork for the new Rancid Vat CD entitled Two Brodies and a Flare. Now, I'm not going to tell you about what I did. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to let them do the big unveiling to the world. And I think you guys will be pretty pleased with the way it looks. I don't know. It felt good to do that kind of stuff again. I haven't done that in quite some time. And like all things, I'm just a little rusty. So did you guys like my public service announcement today? Greg Crawford from down around Pensacola town sent me a picture of him in his warehouse. It looked amazingly identical to the one I'm in. Man, that green and yellow and orange steel everywhere. Yeah, that's... I told him a warehouse is a warehouse is a warehouse. Yeah. This past weekend, I was doing some business with my main Austin King, who just purchased one of the barbed wire baseball bats that I used for years and years and years. First as a double mic stand with two bats on it until I broke that. And so I used the top part with the mic holder in it for, I don't know, close to 20 years, I guess. I don't know. I'm thinking. Maybe, I don't know. It's like around 2000, maybe not 20 years, but a long damn time. And I don't know, we sat around, we talked for quite some time. He was wearing a very impressive James Brown t-shirt that he got at Walmart, which made me immediately go to Walmart.com and order one for myself because it was very, very super bad. But let's see who else on here. Y'all being quiet tonight. You know what I'm going to say? Y'all got to tell me something. Are you amazed I'm even able to function? Love that good old hibiscus tea. Oh, man. I'm trying to see who all's on, man. I can't make it show me. Well, yeah, Brian, yell if you want to, man. Go ahead. In cyberspace, no one can hear you scream. Well, yeah, Dusty, thank you. Ours is actually on. Like I said earlier, it went off twice. Today, so things have been a little late. It's been a very, very surreal kind of day. The rain was so damn hard at work that, I mean, I couldn't go out the driveway at work because it was flooded so bad I had to turn around and go out a back way. It was, it's been a day. Brian wants to know what kind of candle I'm burning back there. Let's see, what is that? That is a Yankee Candle. The fragrance, and you will not be shocked when I tell you what it is. Majestic Mount Fuji. I ain't lying. Majestic Mount Fuji. And it smells quite pleasing in here. You said you were thinking about me the other day. Eddie Patriot was asking about me. Well, man, I hope you spoke for me and told him a big hello from old JC. Love those fellas. Look forward to playing with them anytime, whether it's with Patriot or Baxter Brigade. Good, Brian, good. Thank you. Michael's telling us they got it real bad over in Claremont. A lot of trees, man. Yeah, I'm waiting to hear how they got hit down in South Carolina. Malcolm, I was just describing you a little bit ago, describing your duties as a record company mogul. You have to go back and listen to the beginning and see what all I said about why you didn't have time to do the new ANTiSEEN YouTube page. And I gotta tell you, it's coming, it's on the way. Just like, but with everything we try to do, hiccups, but the Self-Made Monsters Best of CD will be out very soon. We're in the home stretch now. I can't wait for you guys to see this and to more importantly, hear it. Man, I'm telling y'all, my notes are a mess. Let's see. Okay. All right, now I'm going to just talk to y'all about something. The First Lady and I were having a discussion Sunday. And she just asked me out of the blue. And I didn't write any of this down, and I didn't even go back and do any research. I just kind of tried to answer off the top of my head to her, which I'm going to do with you now. What? Working class. She said, if you had to tell someone who didn't know you, what are your songs about? Well, you would have to be concerned about what era of the band you were talking about. Now, we have 4 decades. And within some of those decades, things changed. But I'm going to say, I'm going to give a generalized description of the way I say it. You might think, you might listen to what I'm saying. Damn, Jack, like you know your damn songs. You got more songs about stuff different than that. But yeah, I'm only going to say to you what I would normally say to you. You got to tell me something. In the beginning of our songwriting, I would say a large percentage of the subject matter came from horror movies and exploitation films. The ones that I was watching, day in and day out on a very regular basis. And like I've told people this before, no one ever gets this, but Up All Night was written about the scene in Chainsaw Massacre where they had the gal's head over the bucket and trying to get Grandpa to slug her with that sledgehammer. We had the handheld sledgehammer. And it's not like a perfect painted picture of that scene for you, but that's what inspired it. And there was a lot like that. And we also had this method of songwriting, which was actually kind of surprising for us as green as we were at that time. But we were like trying to make our songs be little 1.5 minute to 2 minute movies. Like you could write a song about something and it would be completely nothing you personally believed or supported or condoned, but it was written from like a character's point. Like I invented this character for this song, and in 4 minutes, or not 4 minutes, but in 4 sentences, I will introduce the character, I will tell you what the character does, and then we will either kill off or just forget about that character because the song will be over. That's pretty much it. Malcolm says miscellaneous topics from the heel perspective, and I think that is a very good generalization of much of the mid to later periods. And but there's one thing, and of course we have more than a handful of songs that have to do with professional wrestling, the stuff that inspired us. And there was hardly ever anything about religion. Very rarely anything about politics. But we get lumped into people that were being political all the time, and we're not. But Dennis Hyland come up with it. Plight and perseverance with style. I like that. I don't know, that sounds like a new album cover to me. But, album title. But, what my first lady, my beautiful wife, came back to me with was, you always seem to write from the us versus them. And now, I know you would think, okay, well, GBH or the Exploited wrote from the us versus them. Fair enough. But you see, a lot of the people that latched onto that, claiming to be us, we put them on the other side and declared them to be them. And I think what it all boiled down to was the big middle finger to our individuality and our freedom. That's what it all comes down to, is the freedom. And you know, sometimes when you're writing songs from a perspective of a 23, 24, 25-year-old, especially when you make it and you're still singing those same songs when you're 60 years old, some of the stuff seems a little silly. But I would say for the most part that I think it stuck with our mindset pretty well. I mean, we were butting heads with the punk rock scene from our conception. So when we say us versus them, a lot of those types that play that music that we used to be labeled punk rock, we're not labeled that anymore. We've divorced ourselves from that title officially, because, well, or like, so, okay, all right, you guys are punk rock. All right, we're punk rock then. But now there's like 255,000 bands out there that call themselves punk. Where's such and such with the punk age? Okay, whatever. I don't want to be associated with that. So that's why we are Destructo Rock. What's Destructo Rock? There's no subcategory called Destructo Rock. Yeah, there is, because I just told you it was. I just said we're Destructo Rock. So that means there is a subcategory. And if you want the bigger picture, rock and roll. Rock and roll, hoo chick hoo. That's what we do. Keep punk rock. Keep it. Oh, don't you guys want to be on a punk festival? Nope. But, yeah, I thought that was a pretty... See, the First Lady brings up some great questions to me. So, and I'm going to tell you something. My conversation with Austin King Saturday, man, he brought up some great questions. You know, it's when a true fan that really knows your history and all that, when they start asking questions, it kind of turns into a little miniature interview, but they ask the best questions, you know. God, I wish I could vividly remember some of what we talked about. I know some of it, but I tell you, like he said, man, he goes, I appreciate you sharing all that stuff with me. And I said, well, you know, he said he'd keep it kind of hush-hush, but I told him, I said, man, you have this truth now that I just gave you about what we do. I said, you can tell it as truth that you got from me. I don't care. And I'll tell y'all something else, man. As this goes on, there's going to be a lot of truths that come out on here that is going to, I think it's going to shock some people. And I think it might make some people angry. I don't know what I'm waiting on. I don't. My main man, David Prino, says, I'm always more into discussing common interests with people instead of looking for reasons to debate what's punk rock. Man, that debate is, it's so tired and worn out. That's why I just threw my hands up. Okay, whatever you say is punk rock, that's punk rock, because we ain't. We are hibiscus rock. And we're getting into the home stretch now. If you have any questions you'd like to ask me that are not 45-minute essay questions, I wish you had. But I'm going to tell you something. Like I'll tell you right now, some people that I would love to be interviewed by. And I'm going to say this to someone on here, and it's not just me daydreaming. It's kind of like something we talked about almost 2 years ago that kind of needs to happen. You know somebody that can interview me well? Malcolm Tent. I think Clinton Zilla could. I think Brian could. I think Dave Prino could. Austin King proved to me the other day that an Austin King interview would be really good. I mean, sometimes, you know, that might be the way to go sometimes. Look, I may be brainstorming right here live on Break On Through. In other words, I may be telling you something that maybe when it comes to certain eras and certain subject matter, I should have someone come on here and interview me, because it is so much easier to discuss these things when someone pulls it out of you, rather than me having to think about what you guys want to hear about. Because I'm telling you, unless I'm working on a project that is a reissue, or if there's some particular subject from the past, and I don't think about the past all the time. I don't think about the past hardly at all. I think about moving forward and what we're going to do coming up. That's where my head is all the time. And that's why when someone comes up with, you know, something from way back, like sometimes I have to give it a week and think about it. And yeah, Brian, but you talk about Eddie with doing a podcast. Man, I see that would be a podcast to listen to right there now. I ain't lying to you. Is there something I'm forgetting? Because, you know, I am known to forget shit. Malcolm Tent says, let's do it. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Not you, Malcolm. I'm just singing the song, Let's Do It Again. Because I'll tell you, man, we got a lot of stuff coming up. Jeff Williams is telling me, man, you should talk about what's in the future, you know, what you got coming up. But see, once I do that, that show is, that just kind of wipes that all clean. I like to give you little tidbits of what we're doing. Brian, if you and Eddie do a podcast, I'm telling you right now, I would be honored to be a guest on that. Y'all know that guy from that group Fucked Up that had that podcast called, oh, I don't know what it was called. But his name is Pink Eyes or something like that. Well, he interviewed me one time. For 3 hours we talked. Man, we talked about the beginning of ANTiSEEN all the way to Blood of Freaks. And I knew he was a big fan. I knew he was a big fan. But he interviewed me. And I got interviews when I was looking forward to it. Man, he just dropped it. Never put it on. I sent email after email. What's going on? I got ignored. And that's the truth. If anyone here sees this and knows him, talk about Damian Abram, I don't know what his name is. But you tell him I said that. Man, he's dropped me like a damn hot potato. I have a feeling some woke ass probably probably said, you shouldn't interview that guy. And he probably went, oh, you're right. So yeah, Michael, it's like other people can bring up stuff that you just kind of bury it, right? Michael's talking about he played with all kind of people, and people bring it up, and that's just it. Well, Malcolm, you say we'll do it live on Break On Through. Well, we tried that thing, you coming on with the camera, and we couldn't hear each other. You talking about being here, live and in person? Is that what you're trying to tell me, Malcolm Tent? Because yeah, I like to do it that way. And you know, we okay, he says yes sir, that's the way we'll do it. And say we won't even discuss it beforehand. I don't want to know what you're going to talk about. I don't want to know your questions. I just want, we sit down, you just go to it. And you know what? I'll have some of you other fellas on sometime. Austin King, I'll have you on. Now, I'll tell you what, though. One thing I learned from having George South on here during the 8 o'clock hour, I think when I have a guest here on Break On Through, I'm going to start them at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Are y'all okay with that? Because, man, me and George went so late. And after we got done talking here on the podcast, we sit here and we talked until almost 11 o'clock. And, you know, y'all know I'm working class. You know, I'm up at 4 a.m. I can't do that. But, well, yeah, that's what I think my plan will be. Like, if Malcolm's going to come on and interview me, we'll start at 7. And we'll still go, you know, we won't put a cap on it. We'll go as long as we got to go. But next time I have George on, I'm definitely going to start at more than likely 7, and it'll be a no time limit guest spot. False count anywhere in the Break On Through studio. I'll be with the boys in 2 weeks. We are working on a project. It is going to be Far Out, Can You Dig It? And I'm going to go ahead and tell you what it's called right now. I've already talked about it one time, but we are going to do Falls Count Anywhere. A collection of wrestling songs as performed by the Ultra lineup of Jeff Clayton, Sir Barry Hannibal, Malcolm Tent, and Walt Wheat. You already asked me what's going to be on, and I hear you. I hear you asking me. I'll tell you. You just think about it. Think of every song that was on Falls Count Anywhere, the original version that came out with. We're going to do those. And we're going to do some new ones. And it's going to all be done by the Ultra lineup, so it's nice and cohesive. It all sounds the same, and it is performed in a way that you have never, ever, never, ever, ever heard these songs and stories before. Yeah, Marvin, I need to do a Saturday with get George in here about 10 o'clock in the morning. Pimbo wants to know if we're going to do entrance themes. That would be cool, but no, we do not have that on the agenda. Dave Prino still would love a 7-inch box set in a wrestling ring package. Dave, I know, man. You discussed that with me after we were done at the People's Choice over at Tipsy Burrow. But man, this is going to be, we are going to try our damnedest to have at least a CD version of this ready for when we play with Eat the Turnbuckle in Philadelphia in April 4th. Oh, and I'm going to need to tell you one more thing. I got something in the mail the other day. I got this here. We were talking about the songs made about exploitation films. This is a magazine called Midnight Magazine. Now, I'm thinking you get this at, any of those places like Books A Million or Borders or any of those places that still have a magazine stand in them. The reason it was sent to me, because I think I helped set this up. But our friend Janice Blythe was interviewed for the magazine. And it's quite a layout. Look at this, man. Look at all the pages they gave her. See, here it just keeps going. I guess that's the last page. But yeah, man, all kinds of stuff in here, like book reviews, film reviews, video reviews, comics. This is the kind of thing I liked about the horror movie fanzines from the 90s, especially. But yeah, Midnight Magazine, number 11. I think it's out now. Yeah, Dennis, interview with Brad Sykes. I don't know if I set it up or not. You may have set that up. I think you set that up. Well, we rode the storm out. And we managed to get in a good old-fashioned break on through. Done the American way. On Facebook Live. So, as we go into the rest of the week, I hope you all have great days at work. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope among all the hustle and bustle and the punching the time clock, I hope you have fun. I hope you find time to spend with those you love. I love the fact that you all come and still hang out with me on Tuesday nights after what? We're working on year 4. Is that right? I love you. The Lord loves you. And I will see you right here next week on Break On Through.